Hello everyone, welcome back to the episode number 2 of the rating climb where I would be playing online games of Rapid on chess.com and try to speak up my mind while playing the game of chess. It is going to be very much interesting and fun and very instructive if you really want to know how chess players think while playing the game, what are their thoughts going on any particular position. So I don't want to waste any further time. It's going to be very much fun, so let's begin. So let's start the first Rapid game. Okay, so we have the game number one. So okay, knight f6. Okay, so opponent has developed the knight and we have also developed the knight. So I have developed the knight because it is considered one of the most flexible moves, because basically knight f6 is a move that can come in any particular opening. You can play any opening and knight f6 is a move that obviously come. And now white has played h3, which is not a good move, pushing the side pawn but not controlling the center. So we are going to play d5, just pushing the pawn, controlling the center, doing nothing else. Opponent has played b3, maybe with the idea of bishop b2, putting the bishop on a nice diagonal. Okay, so I can't play e5 because the opponent will capture it. I can play c5, once again controlling the center. Opponent has developed the bishop, I can develop the knight. So yeah, simple chess, simple opening. Okay, opponent has captured the knight over here. So having two options, can capture with the g pawn or the e pawn. If I capture with the g pawn towards the center, it also looks a pretty good opening with the idea of e5 coming up. I can also capture with the e pawn and develop my bishop. Okay, so if I capture with the g pawn and play e5, if I castle in the future, the king is going to be a bit weak because there is no pawn on the g5. So I think I can capture with the e pawn, e3. Okay, so maybe the opponent's side could be to play bishop b5, but I don't mind. I'll do nothing fancy but just develop my pieces. Bishop to d6. Okay, the opponent's idea could be to take the knight over here maybe. So okay, I can simply castle up, which is one way. Another way here, okay, is to simply protect the knight so that after takes, the pawns won't be doubled up. Let's think. I can play bishop d7, but okay, what I'll do here is just castle up. I'll simply castle up, doing nothing fancy. Takes, yeah. I'm having the bishop pair now. Definitely double pawns. So what I'll do here is, now I'll play the move a5, a4. Basically, this pawn is an isolated pawn, so I would like to remove it by playing a5, a4, and just take over here. Yeah, just take over here, removing the weaknesses. Yeah, just removing the weaknesses from the position. Having the bishop pair maybe can launch some sort of an attack on the king's side. So you see, doing nothing fancy. Just okay. We have knight to c3. Maybe the idea is to take the pawn. So I can take, which is an option. I can also push, which is also an option. Let's think. I think I would like to take over here, which looks a fine move. I'll take over here. Okay, opponent has captured it back, and now I can capture the rook, which is an option. But I won't go for it. I want to simply develop the bishop on c8. But the question is where to develop the bishop. The bishop can go to e6. The bishop can also go to f5. Let's think. So these two moves are the options that I'm able to see. f5 and e6. I think bishop e6 looks like a more solid option. Maybe c4 can also be in the future. Maybe, yeah. And I can also play bishop e5, allowing him to take over here. So basically now I'm having two double pawns. Yeah. So knight a4, putting pressure. Okay, makes sense. So white's idea. What is the white's idea? Maybe putting the queen on c3 maybe. Could be. Another idea is to simply just double up the rook on the open file, which looks like a good idea to me personally speaking. So I'll just play queen c7, which looks absolutely fine move to me. Yeah, just queen c7 and finally developing up on the a file. Just queen c7, yeah. Doing nothing fancy, just playing chess. And let's see how will it go. Okay, c4, yeah. It was a move that I was thinking, but I was somewhere thinking that after c4, the b3 becomes a bit weak, and I can now put pressure. If I take, definitely it would be bad because then I'm only having the liabilities on the c double pawns. So I won't take, but I'll do something else. Maybe just rook b8, getting the rooks, putting pressure on the weak pawn. Yeah, putting the pressure on the weakness of the white, which is the b3 pawn, which looks fine move to me. The question is, how will the opponent continue? First of all, the opponent is playing extremely fast. But okay, let's see how will the opponent continue. I'm simply putting pressure. If opponent takes, I can capture with the pawn, or even with the bishop maybe, yeah. Queen c2, okay. The idea is to take over here and maybe take on c5 in the future, which is not bad at all. But let's think, how can we continue? Okay, takes is no problem. Maybe I can play rook b4 with the idea of rook b8, which looks a fine move to me. Somewhere, yeah. Okay, so there is a variation that is going on in my mind, which is rook b4. If I play rook b4, yeah. Yeah, if I play rook b4, he can take in the center. I can take with the bishop then, right? Which is a move. If I take with the... Okay, if rook b4, if it takes the pawn, if I take with the pawn, he's having knight c5 maybe. Maybe, yeah. Because the rook is hanging, so I have to take over here. He takes, I take. And then he can simply play rook to a8 check, which is a big problem. Sort of a big problem, yeah. Yeah, that's a problem for sure. The question is to see how will I continue then. Maybe I can play rook b4 or just h6. h6, he will go rook c1, putting pressure, even more pressure on this pawn. Let's see, maybe rook b4 looks fine. Rook b4, if it takes, I can take with the bishop at least. At the very least, I can take. And that should look fine to me, but I don't know. Maybe rook f5. Just rook f5, I don't know. Maybe I'll just play h6. Just h6. Doing nothing fancy. If it takes, I'll take back with the pawn. The pawn is well protected on c5. I can play rook f5, even protecting the pawn further in the future. And okay, the position looks fine. The position is very interesting. Anything can happen. White's position looks fine to me, to be true. The b3 is a bit weak, but anything can happen. h6. The question is, how will the opponent continue? Okay, d4, striking in the center. So the most obvious move that comes in my mind is to take. Just take the pawn. Removing up the double pawns, he will capture with the 9. But still, it looks good to me. I'm removing the double pawns, which should be in the favor of me. So yeah, e cross g4, and now if the opponent takes, I can at least take with the pawn, which is fine. If he pushes, I can go back. If I take, he'll take with the pawn, and nothing is happening. So I believe just rook b4 maybe. Oh wow, rook b4 c5. Bishop e7, knight b6. You see, there are ideas in the position the opponent can go for. So once again, I need to play good chess. I can take, he can take, which looks fine to me. Okay, so first of all, I'm giving up the center, but you see now the position is getting a bit opened up, and I can start putting pressure on these pawns. So yeah, let's see. His idea is definitely to put the knight on b6, that's for sure. Maybe c5. c5 looks good to me. If he takes, I can capture with the bishop, and this pawn is a permanent weakness. The c4 pawn is a permanent weakness now. Even if he plays g5, I can go back with the bishop to d7, attacking the knight, and the position looks fine to me. Yeah, I'm having the bishop pair, which are kind of fine. And now I can first of all take on a1 maybe. And with the idea of rook to b4. That seriously looks good to me. Shall I do it? I can. The time is less. I have to do it. I have to do it if I want to win. And now the only thing is rook b4, there is bishop a8, and how to continue then. Shall I play g6 and f5? That also looks fine. Yeah, let's play g6 f5 because basically the h7 square is currently covered by the queen. So g6, king g7, and now rook b4. And this looks still good to me. King g7 maybe. Ah, okay, king g7, maybe he can put pressure. The bishop goes over here then. Ah, okay. Let's see, bishop e5. I think bishop e5. If he takes, I can take with the queen, with the idea of attacking the rook. I wanted to play king g7, but there were problems on king g7 with the idea of queen c3 maybe coming up. So that's why I played this. And now I'm having only 2 minutes on the clock, so I definitely need to play fast if I want to win. Let's see, queen e5. How will the opponent continue? Definitely I'm also having a weakness on c5, but currently I'm attacking the rook. And bishop f5 is also a good move that I can play. Bishop f5. Knight takes. Yeah, knight f. I'll play bishop f5. So if knight f6, queen f6, rook f6, I can take the queen, and that's winning for me because I would be a piece up with a better position. Opponent can still go for capturing these pawns, but I don't know. I think that should be winning. I can capture this pawn, and eventually this pawn will fall. This looks good to me because I'm currently taking the initiative. My pieces are well centralized. I'm putting pressure on the knight. Yeah, let's see. It's okay. The question here is how will the opponent continue? Okay, he played f3, which is kind of the only move, and now still rook b2 is a move that I can play. Rook b2, but I think first starting with check makes sense. Starting with a check makes sense. Shall I start with a check because the time is already less, so I have to play fast. I got to play fast if I want to win. With the idea of rook b2 maybe coming up. Let's play rook b2 then. I hope he doesn't play queen f2. But still, rook b1, that would be winning. Okay, only 1 minute 26 seconds are left, so I need to hurry up. I need to play fast. Queen d4, it's a check. The king move, I can play rook b2. And try to hope for some sort of an initiative, maybe in the possession. Let's see. It's a check, you have to move the king. Maybe king f1, maybe king h1, maybe king h2. Yeah, let me get the rook in. Let me get the rook in. Attacking the queen. Attacking the bishop. Giving some checks ideas. Putting pressure on over here. The possession is very complex, but definitely I'm taking some initiative. It should be some sort of I should be having black should be having some sort of a winning advantage maybe. Yeah, this is winning, yeah, because I'm winning a piece in the end of the day. Yeah, this is winning. Yeah, this is winning. I have already seen this, so yeah, this is winning for sure. I think now I can win this without much of an effort. Just take this, stop this, and that's it. Just take. I'll first take over here. If he pushes, I can take the pawn. And now my idea is to simply play rook d4, capture this pawn, push this pawn, and eventually win the game. Actually, the rook is sort of trapped. I'll play rook d4 and king g7 and the rook is trapped. Because even if he pushes, I can take. If I play king g7, then he can push. I cannot take because he will make the queen. So I have to take and the rook will fly away. So rook g4, king g7 traps the... Yeah, rook d4. Allowing him to take and king g7 traps the rook. It traps the rook and I win the game. Yeah. The rook is having nowhere to go. The rook is trapped. If he pushes, I can take the rook because the queen square is already covered by the rook. So it's winning. So it doesn't matter whatever white does, it's winning for me now. I just need to make the queen and the game is over. And 1 minute is more than enough for me to win the game. Yep. Let's see. How will white continue the game now? It's winning. I can even pre-move this. Maybe. Yeah, it's a matter of time to see how will the opponent continue, but definitely opponent gave a good fight, that's for sure. And just king f7 and that's it. Just to make a queen and the game is over. Yeah. So Ramesh 8671 definitely played a good game. Let's try to understand where did we went wrong. So opening wise, I think I was already having an edge. And the engine is saying that I should have stuck with the G pawn having a nice center, which also makes sense. But I played a bit solid approach. I went for a bit solid approach. Black is better. I decided to push my a pawn. Took over here, which was a bad move. a3 would have been the best, grabbing more space, which was a typical idea. But I decided to take over here. Got my pieces, and now h6. Here, queen c8 is actually the best move, maybe some sacrifices. But I played h6, d4, takes, and c5. Actually here, queen f5 is considered to be the best. Why? Because after c5, bishop c7 is available. He's not having knight b6. And if he plays knight b6, I can actually sack the queen for the 2 rooks, and that's winning. So c5, I still think it's fine, because if he takes over here, double takes, the pawn is permanently weak, and black is the one playing for the win. White pushed, I went back with the bishop, I traded off the rooks, and I pushed the pawn, which was a bad move. I should have played bishop f8 in the position, now maybe centralizing the rook, yeah, getting the rook, attacking the pawn. Because if I would have played rook at the start, now he's having this check, which was kind of irritating. I have to go back with the rook. That is the only reason I played the move g6, but now he found the move knight e4, which was a good move. And now actually d6 is actually winning for him. Attacking the queen, queen c6, and he can take over here with the idea of rook g1. And definitely he's better, but it's hard to find. He took rook over here, bishop f5, check, rook game, and now this is like a bit of tactics now. And now finally take, trapping the rook, and the game is over. The game is over, yeah. GG. It was a fun game for sure, and I won. So yeah, this was one game. So now let's play on the second game, and let's try to see, at least let's play 2 games, and let's try to increase the rating. Yeah. So we are having currently 1838 rating. Now let's see how can we win. Knight to f6, g4, knight f6, e6. So this is the opening that we can play with the black pieces. Bishop b4, bishop g5. Okay, pinning up the knight with the idea of e5 maybe. c5 is a very interesting way to play approach. It's a very interesting approach, and I will go for c5 approach. What is the idea? Many times I can take over here, play queen f5 check, and take the bishop. It's a very interesting and a very rich approach. Queen f5 check, and I can capture the pawn. You see, this is a move that many players usually misses up, and I'm already winning a piece. I'm already winning a piece, and I think the opponent is already going to resign maybe. But let's see. Queen cross e5, giving a check, and now the bishop is trapped. The bishop goes back, and I can capture the bishop. And it's already GG, the game is over. I will first take the pawn, give a check to the white king. And now there are some checks, lethal checks available. I think knight g4 is a mate. Knight g4 is simply a mate because every square is particularly covered up, and that's it. And I think I kind of played the best way. I played the best chess. So playing simple chess, playing c5, allowing him to play e4 with the idea of e5. You see, I cannot capture the pawn because this is pin. So I took, he pushed. Here, if he would have took the pawn, I would have played knight c6 because queen a5 check leads to bishop d2. But he played the move e5, which is the big blunder, and I win a piece, and not a piece, but actually it's a mate. So yeah, this was the second game. Actually, let's do one more thing. The game actually got over pretty early, so let's play another game. 1d4, c4, knight to c3. The opening name is Slav Defense. Bishop f5, and I can already take over here. And basically the bishop moved to f5, leaving the control of the b7 square, and after queen b3, white is already winning a pawn. White is already winning a pawn with a better position out of the opening. I'm already winning a pawn with the white pieces, so basically usually black cannot develop the bishop to f5 because the b7 loses the control. So usually black have to play b6, bishop b7 and develop his pieces. He went for a wrong approach, and I'm going to use that opportunity to win the game. Okay, he developed the knight, but now he's losing the bishop. He lost the bishop. I'll come back with the queen. And now I'll just push the pawn in the center, having a good center control. And now bishop g5, pinning up the knight with the idea of e5 maybe. Pushing the pawn, the knight cannot move, the queen is hanging. Bishop e7, okay, that's still fine. And maybe I can even play e5, just striking in the center, because the position is already too good for me. So I don't really care. Okay, the knight goes over here. So first I can take over here. If it takes the bishop, which can be a possibility, but I'm having knight c7 check, which also looks quite good to me. Okay, let's do it. Let's play knight d5. Bishop g4, bishop g5 can lead to knight c7 check. And if it takes the knight, I'm winning the rook. And if it doesn't take, I'm still winning the rook. Okay, let's capture the rook. Okay, the knight goes back, and I can give a check now. It's time for one more check. The king has to go on e7 now. It's now or never. The king goes to d8. Okay. Okay, I'm still having knight f3, which is also winning. Yeah, the opponent has simply resigned because the game was completely over. So once again, just following some basic fundamentals of chess: controlling the center, developing the knight, taking the pawn, queen b3, and he lost a pawn. The position is already winning, and he simply blended the piece as well. Controlled the center, developed the bishop, and here takes, and now knight c7 check. And yeah, this was completely over. Knight f3, castle up, put the rook on c1. Okay, this square is covered up, so bishop goes back. And now short castle, rook c1, and the black is busted. That's it. So we played 3 games, and we won all the 3 games, and now our original rating is 1898. It's going to be fun eventually as we get stronger day by day. It's going to be fun to play against stronger players. So see, if we just follow simple chess, like I have done my best to speak up my mind as I play chess. So yeah, that's how players around 1900 play chess on chess.com. So I hope that this video was helpful for you guys to get the idea of how chess.com players play online and how good players. I personally think I'm a good player. So yeah, that's how chess players usually think while playing chess. So I'm going to get even better and try to do my best at giving you guys the best information that I'm having while I'm playing the game of chess. So if this video was fun, if it was helpful for you guys, then make sure to like, share and subscribe if you are new to our channel. I'm going to come up with these more interesting episodes like this. So till then, stay tuned and keep watching Oneshot Chess. Bye bye.